Good day.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing a bit better. Thank you for asking. And you?
And we're recording this. You don't mind this, do you?
Oh no, I don't mind. I was just let me just hit the buttons here. And yeah, I haven't seen your channel yet on YouTube.
Uh, There we go. You're a little quiet there for a minute. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sharing my screen if you wanted to see it, if you wanted to talk about my idea and how my project works.
Oh, okay.
Because I had legal issues. And at first, I trusted my lawyers to do as they said they were going to do. And then as I learned that they weren't doing that, I started placing our correspondence online, and I caught them lying. I caught the assistant district attorney lying about evidence, and then my case was dismissed. And they used that to drag my case on for 3.5 years, all to cover up the abuse of disabled adults in Massachusetts.
I don't see your screen yet.
I don't know why it's not sharing it.
Oh,
but
okay.
I will, can you see it now? Huh, this thing's so annoying.
Yeah, I see now.
Okay, for my legal issues, I created a separate legal index so I could go by year. I've had legal issues from 2013 in Hamden County, which is a Springfield area, and then in 2021 and 2025 in Worcester County, and that was a separate set of issues. But the same pattern, the same lawyers would withhold evidence. Both district attorneys in both areas altered evidence in my cases. So I don't understand how this is all allowed. And now I've been helping other parents do what I'm doing, and the same thing is happening with them.
So there's something
Corrupt in our legal system here in Massachusetts.
yeah, or the method is not understood properly. I don't know because I haven't seen all the details, but just to come back to what you said your case was dismissed, but then I heard the case was dragged on for 3 years. Are those different cases, or is that the same case?
It's the same case. It was dragged on for 3.5 years. And then when I was about to present evidence that the assistant district attorney had lied to the judge about evidence, my case was dismissed before I could get to court.
Okay, so what was the original case about?
An alleged assault.
Against who did
So
this?
an ex-girlfriend alleged that I elbowed her in the face.
Okay, so you that sounds like something you should be glad that was dismissed.
So she alleged that I elbowed her because she wanted me to keep fighting the courts. She
Yeah.
wanted me to go before the courts and say, well, she accused me of hitting her because you've been ignoring the abuse of her disabled son. And the only way for her to get before a judge is for her to accuse me of assault.
Yeah, and so then the case was dismissed.
Yes. And the abuse of her son was covered up. One of the lawyers that I was appointed, I allowed myself to be appointed court lawyers. One of
So
these lawyers had a client in her son's house and laughed about the abuse that goes on with these disabled adults after she accused me of assaulting her.
okay, so who are these adults?
Uh, they're just random adults that are under the care of certain companies in Massachusetts.
Okay, so
One,
that okay,
when you turn 21 in Massachusetts,
yeah.
they'll move you from state care into adult group homes if you have autism or other disabilities that
Okay,
you need
so
guardians.
so the ex that you were talking about that alleged that you elbowed her, she was staying in one of those homes.
No, her son was staying in one of those homes.
Okay, so her son was staying there.
Yes.
Okay, so
And she wanted me to help keep exposing the abuse that's going on in those homes.
so
And
she
and I tried to get and I didn't want to at the time. I wanted to stop. I I was sick. I couldn't handle it. I didn't want to fight the system at that time. So I
yeah.
wanted to walk away and she got mad.
Okay, so you sound upset that the judge dismissed the case against you.
Oh, I was mad because I wanted to expose what the system is doing to these disabled adults.
Yeah, but that would be a different case.
Why did my ex accuse me of elbowing her? Because you're allowing her son to be abused and doing nothing about it.
Is that what she said to the judge, or is that what you think was her motive?
That was her motive. And that's why all the body cam footage disappeared. Moment. Massachusetts has a huge problem with abuse of disabled adults. And I learned through my investigations that these group homes get paid differently whether they own a home or they rent a home.
Okay, so we're talking about different cases then, not just one case.
Yes, we're talking about multiple cases. And I'm not sure what type of a lawyer you are, but maybe we could talk about something that's a different legal matter that might be more interesting to you
The
that I've
thing is,
been
I'm
tracking.
not a lawyer. I'm a parent that um,
Oh,
learned the system because I was dragged in front of it, and I'm not. Uh, I'm more of a caretaker, a care,
okay.
and then, but I'm very analytical. So when people are very aggressive and pushy, aggressive people, like a lot of salespeople are like that. They're very pushy and aggressive. And mind you, they are not the guys that make all the money. The people that really make the money in sales are
Mm,
introverts. So the top 25% of salespeople are introverts because the people keep coming back to them because they have good service. So they don't have to keep going to recruit, where the pitbull type salesperson have to go get new clients constantly because they don't keep their word and they just try and sell things. But a lot of lawyers also have that pit bull in them and they will go after you and very aggressive. Now, the problem with that is that they're also very aggressive with their clients, their own clients. So um, when people want to divorce, they try and get the meanest, most aggressive lawyer in town. And then those guys make the case worse than what it was before they got it. And then that woman or the husband that got her have to dig himself out of a hole that pit bull go into, or dug for them. with their aggressiveness. My father he had this saying that you could break off your finger in your ear with violence. So don't be too violent. No, he just didn't use ear. He used some other cavities. But anyway,
So then I do want to sell you on something, on a free idea. If you have a story to tell, something happened to you, and it made you feel a certain way. I'm asking that you do what I do with the Google Blogger and tell your story and let me link it to mine so we can share your perspective with the world.
I made a video of some of the things that that captures the common issues with the court. That one we can share. And
But will you write it down too? Because I don't know, is your video on YouTube? Because we can link videos to
yeah,
Google Blogger.
it's on YouTube, but then you can also click to see the transcript, and then it show you the transcript of what happened. Now, what um, something that's very important to me is that when we focus on something, we need to focus on it in a way that's gonna feel a bit better than what it's now. Because if you there's a way that you can focus on a problem that make you feel helpless and keep you stuck in a loop. And I don't want to do that. I see a lot of advocates going in those loops, and it's not very productive for anybody.
I think once you copy my free idea, you're going to change your perspective. So I've been writing about my entire situation, my entire life, everything that goes on, I put into this Google Blogger. I
Hmm.
have separate sections for legal, separate for medical, and I have a page up right now where I went boxing with my nephew and I took pictures just to show what it was like at 47 to practice boxing with a 18-year-old, 19-year-old. This gives AI perspective that you've never had before. It gives a computer an AI of your problems. And when it puts your problems and my problems and the things that make you happy and the things that make me happy together, it pops out with more empathetic responses than you've ever seen in your entire life.
Which AI are we talking about?
All of them. Anyone you want to use, if you share our stories with it, it will respond more empathetically now than ever because it has something to work with. I gave it context it's never had before because no one shares their stories the way I have. No one's been this open.
I've seen quite a few people that were so open, but anyway, I do see what you're getting. There is value in journaling and giving the AI context. Now there are various different ways you can do that. That a block is one way, but I'm
W-
a I'm a
This way it gives us a way, like if we have a miscommunication and your AI has an idea of what's going on, you could just put it online and we could swap it so I can understand why I'm not understanding you correctly.
are you talking about give me an example, a specific example.
So I use ChatGPT and Grok and Gemini and Claude, and I use them all the time because I use them to make sure they're all like close to the same answers. And now I'm working with other parents about their legal issues. And my AI are saying exactly what their AI are saying, but they had to talk to their AI for weeks and weeks to tell them this information, where I just copied and pasted it into one file, showed them how to do it, and it was 5 minutes later, I got them the same results. Everything was faster. Like right now, you have a story, and I have to go search for it because parts of it are on YouTube, parts are on Facebook. But if you put it all on Google Blogger, and then put links to Facebook and links to YouTube, I can always access your information if I needed it to help somebody else.
Yeah, the thing is, I didn't publish my story. I wanted. I'm busy writing a book that's inspired by my life, not based on my life, but the ideas and concepts that I got from that. But yeah, so I'm not gonna do that for free, and just it's like playing poker. If you show your cards, because you don't know what type of intention other people have with you, and now you show them. You know that game that we played as children. You say something in their ear, and they say something in somebody else's ear, and then at the end, the story
Yes.
always change. So when you're in an adversarial system, like um, like a court, a family court, and then um, the opposition lawyer asks you something like, "Did you touch the girl? Yes or no?" So it's very black and white, but it's very toxic. So you didn't touch the child in the way they want to make it look, and then you would say something like, "No, I didn't," or "No," because it's just yes or no. And then later they ask you, "Did you change the child's diaper?" Yes. Yeah, but you just said you didn't touch the child. So they set you up, railroad you into two different directions, and then blame it on you.
Oh, they're
Or
terrible with that.
yeah, or you tell somebody um, you're a Christian, and in church they sing that beautiful song. Oh, he touched me. Yes, I know he touched me. And then they say, "Oh, he touched you. Where did he touch you?" And they make it sound so horrible because it's an adversarial system. For one person, so many religions have this concept in them that they say, "Don't put your pearls before the swine because they will destroy you." Now, I learned that the hard way because I like learning. I would always try and teach other people and show them the nuggets that I got. But I don't do that anymore because in 1970 they did an experiment on kittens. Maybe you've seen that some kittens only saw horizontal lines and others only saw vertical lines for months. And then when they were grown up, the ones that only saw the horizontal lines, they had no problem seeing the top of a table or the top of a chair and jump up and go lie there or eat there. But they would not be able to see the vertical legs of the tables. And the other happened with the once they could see the tables, chairs, and the legs of the chair, the table's feet and the feet of the chairs. They could see that, but where they couldn't comprehend the horizontal spaces. So when a person undermined the relationship between a parent and their child, there's portions that the child can't access now. So they hamper the child's development. But not only that, when you learn something that another person don't know, and now you try and communicate it to them, they look at you as if you're crazy. Um, for example, it really happened in Alaska, I believe. They had trackers from a very native group, very good trackers, and then in the World War I. So one of them survived, and this family asked him, "Now, how was your trip? What happened?" And he told them the truth. But he had trouble communicating with them because he saw streetcars back then. It's something like a tram or a train or a bus. And now he had to explain it to people that lived in teepees and very primitive homes or basic homes. And then he said the people were standing in houses and their houses moved while they were standing in them.
You have to use the words that you have to try to describe things.
Exactly. But so all of these things sounded so far fetched that they called him Ziklag, which means liar in their language. So lived a very secluded life because he's the liar and he was ostracized. And then when World War II came about, he was too old to go, and the survivors that came back, they conspired that we can't tell these things to the people. Remember what happened to Ziklag? So they the only ones that knew Ziklag was telling the truth all this time, and they concocted the story of how they lived on the river banks and they went hunting and he showed them how to make a kayak out of a bird's bark and um, taught the white people how to live off the land and then they bump into some of the others. So and the people honored them for their honesty. So now you see something that other people don't see, like Nikola Tesla or the guy that invented the radio waves. They lock him up because he claimed he can bring voices out of the air or he can send your voice long distances. They lock him up. So
This free idea is going to set people like they're going to set us all free. If more people copy what I'm doing and start asking better questions, my AI can tell me everything. Whenever I have a problem, I tell it everything I know about the problem and I try to explain it from every different angle and they can help me solve everything.
AI can do a lot of the work for you. Now, I've seen a lot of hallucinations in the work of AI,
Mm.
but um, it brings me
You
back.
have to do the work, not AI. You double, once the AI gives you all this information, you double and triple check it and you're good to go.
Yeah. So there's a basics. If you want to learn something new,
Mm.
one of the basic questions, with the first thing that you have to ask yourself is, who do you listen to? Because a lot of people will teach you something that they think worked. It might not be what really solved the issue, but they think it worked. Like, for example, let's take making money. There are a boatload of books in English, uh, but everybody has different stories. And then there's Afrikaans books and Russian books and Italian books. We don't even talk about those ones yet.
Mm.
We just talk about the English reader. So who do you listen to? Because the one guy subscribed his success to wearing a red tie, and the red tie, that's the thing. And the other one have a different story. Now, it might not be what actually caused their success. That's what they thought or think created their success. So, if a person gives you a messed up recipe and you follow that recipe to the T, to a T, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get results because it's a screwed up recipe.
So, how these AIs work, I wrote right in the beginning of my index, assume that 50% of the things I could tell you are wrong, that I remembered something wrong, I gave you a fact wrong, just assume it's wrong. And these AI are like, if more people copy this, If you get 1,000 people to copy this, you're gonna change the world. Like, most of my work is my opinion, how I think, how I feel about things, how I react when I make a mistake.
Now, isn't that the case for everybody?
Like, nobody talks to their AI like this
That the
and
case?
puts it publicly. Like, the
No,
AI is only allowed to learn what the company says it's allowed to learn, unless you make it public. And Facebook and YouTube aren't public enough for AI. So I want these corporate AI to have my opinion, so I made sure it's all over the internet. I made sure it's machine readable because they can read the news if you make it public. Like you said, you don't want your story public. You want to make money off it or keep it private. It's yours. It's your idea. I'm giving away all of my ideas for free. And every time I see a connection or I find a problem, I talk about it and I make it public. So if somebody needs to build off of it, you can find, oh, you know what? Somebody's already been talking about this problem. The corporation didn't get to erase it.
yeah, but the thing is that that person that was talking about it, how do we know they know what they are talking about? Because when you're starting for the first time, a person can tell you something and you think it's right because you have no clue what it's about. I can give you a few examples of that. For example, I was teaching somebody how to take better care of himself. And I show him, okay, peel the potatoes. Or I think it was a potato or a sweet potato. But anyway, so I give him my peeler and he tried peeling it and the peeler wouldn't work. I've never seen a peeler not work. And I said, what? And I try and it worked. And then he tried and it didn't work. So I observed him and I see, but he's pressing too hard. Then the blades twist in so it can't catch the peel.
Mm,
Now, if I wanted to mess with his mind, I would have told him, you know, you're not pushing hard enough. You should push harder.
just
So,
smush it.
yeah. So now you get people saying something, and then you don't know if you can trust them because you've never gotten the results. So now you try a lot of people's methods, and then you find one that work or two that get you similar results, and then you start understanding who you can listen to on that specific topic. Now, I see for you it's very important that things be public. And now you can also ask the AI about Anthony Robbins. Do this in the voice of Anthony Robbins, and he will do that from what he can pull from the books and things. So whether you get paid for it or you just give it away, um, it's going to become public knowledge anyway, because all patents are public knowledge from the start, but you can only start copying it legally 10 years later. But the thing is, nobody copy um, iPhone ones and make them in masses. They can legally because the patents has expired, but nobody does that. So Apple made got compensation for all the effort that they did to make iPhone ones, and now nobody copies that. They rather um, make another thing and keep patenting that. And yeah, so if you want to help the world, you might as well get compensated for that because that's how you have to feed your family.
I'm on disability and I hang out with my dog all day long. I feel like God put me here to do exactly what I'm doing.
Now, if that's your purpose and what you're doing, then you can do that. Now, I would share a story that happened to me that can maybe broaden your perspective. Um, I I was praying about um, something. I'm just trying to remember what the wording was, but anyway, it was something about what can I do or stop doing to improve my finances. And then in one night, I had two dreams. The first time I dream I'm in a desert, but I discover an amazing underground water source. So you go in, it's like a cave, and the water is crystal clear. And there's water in the desert. So I get some water and I go up, and I'm not far from there. And I meet another traveler, and he asked me where he can get water. So I thought I'm gonna help him, and I showed him where the water is. So the next time I go get water, he's standing inside the water, waving at me very friendly because I helped him. But over his shoulder, I can still see, I still get grossed out from the camel that's pooping just behind him in the water. So he's in the water, his animals on the water, and his friends that he invited are all muddying the water.
Oh, your phone cut out for a second. I'll wait and see if you start back up. Never had Google Meet stop like this before. Hello, Google Meet. Ugh. Oh, you're back.
Yeah,
S-
I
So,
realized at some point that you were frozen, and then I then I dropped.
mine kept working, but you stopped at you talking about the muddying the waters.
Yeah, so he was in the water, and his friends were in the water, and they animals. So and then in the next dream, same thing happened where I discovered the water, clear water, get some water, and I meet the guy. But I said, um, I'll get you water, and it's going to cost so much. Let's say $5 for 5 gallons or whatever. There was a price on it. So he agreed, and he said, yeah. And so for the next 40 years, the water was still drinkable. Now, if you listen to Anthony Robbins or other authors, and you can Google the statistics, the people that buy a book, less than 10% of them read past the first chapter. So the people that actually finish the book is about 3%. And then the people that, or 5%, and then the people that actually make a success out of it is about less than 1%. So about 3% will try and do what the book say. So if you just give stuff to people for free, the chances that they are not in the market for that and just going to criticize you anyway. I don't see any upside now to doing stuff for free anymore.
I'm
Um,
trying to teach people so we could teach other people. If we could turn what I'm doing into a game, I totally would, but companies don't want us to do what I'm doing, so I'm gonna keep pushing it for free.
Mhm.
I
Now, I'm not saying you should not do it because Linux, for example, Ubuntu Linux or different distros, they are all free and they are very good quality, but they're not um, the huge market share than Microsoft. So if you really want to uh, market your idea, you need some income for that.
I'm trying to do all of this for free. I'm trying to make sure that some hobo off the street can go into a library and do what I'm doing to protect themselves and share their story. Because in America, we're supposed to take care of all people, and we're not doing that. I grew
Yeah.
up in the Catholic Church. Like, I'm supposed to love my neighbors like I love myself, and I've got it really good. I'm sitting here with my dog. I've got heat and food, and there are kids out there starving, and I could do more, and I'm not allowed to because my government is standing in the way.
No, but there are things that you can do that you are allowed to. For example, you could plant vegetables. You can't. You can. Um, uh, we have a whole economy that don't even require money.
Mm,
That for the people that can't afford our courses, there's a way that they can still contribute, and uh, we have a way of tracking that. So um, money is just one way of counting the people's contribution or the value that they put on things. So if you want to help people and do a better system, we just need to do it in a way that it's not going to make it worse, because a lot of the current help make the situation worse. And I was curious about something. You mentioned that your previous case got dismissed, and um, that was before you started doing what you're doing now.
I started it. I didn't post it online as hardcore. I didn't call it what I was calling it, but I had all my information public.
Yeah,
I had the same tactic. I just didn't name it.
yeah. But
I started with the YouTube videos because I'm like, well, the lawyers were lying to me, and they said they were going to get evidence. They talked to the judge. They were approved money for an investigator, but then never used it. And that was 3.5, well, it was 3 years because, we'll give them a couple months because they didn't ask for the money right away. They had to wait. But they waited 3 years before they sent an investigator to talk to anybody. I had to go through lawyers, keep going because I talked too much.
so, if you don't mind me asking, what disability are you referring to?
I have a skeletal muscle disorder. My muscles don't process sugar the right way. And
Yeah.
for years, like if I overexert myself, my muscles break down and die, and then that'll overload my kidneys, and I get super tendinitis from that, so I can't do the physical stuff I used to do anymore.
So, is that similar to the tinnitus in the ear, the ringing in the ears, or what?
No, tendinitis is your muscles and it's all your joints, like all your
Oh, the
tendons, you need
tendons.
tendons to move.
Oh, infection in the not tinnitus, it's tendonitis. Okay.
Yes, yep. And
I
I have hyperthyroidism. This is what made me connect a lot of the pieces. So my hyperthyroidism 10 years ago and 20 years ago caused me to have severe mental health issues. And doctors misdiagnosed me, gave me psych meds, which caused me to become suicidal. And then I spent time inside mental health facilities. and I caught them for that through Apple Health. Like, they knew that I had hyperthyroidism, and if you look it up, if you prescribe certain medications, it'll cause men to have severe mental health issues on top of the issues that hyperthyroidism already causes.
Oh, some fun facts that you might want to play with is you can ask your AI, what is the biggest argument against psychiatry?
I mean, I can ask it that now if you wanna. I can screen share my Google. The biggest argument against psychiatry?
Yeah, but specifically the argument of the pathologists. The pathologists are real scientists. Now, many of your doctors are real scientists, but let's see what is public knowledge about psychiatry from the perspective of real scientists.
Alright, so what's the perspective of real scientists against psychiatry?
What's yeah, yeah,
Ho
what's the argument of pathologist against psychiatry?
I spell it right? Ugh, no.
AI will still understand.
Says your question is brilliant. Here's why. This isn't random. He's testing whether you understand the epistemological problem at the heart of institutional power. The core argument pathologist positions show the lesson. Pathology deals with observable tissue damage, measurable chemical abnormalities, visible structure changes, physical evidence. Do you want me to keep reading it or you want me to go to see if my AI thinks I understand this?
So, psychiatric diagnosis, you skipped over that. There's an
All right.
important piece.
No tissue damage, no visible lesions, no blood test, no objective measurement, just behavioral observations and self reported symptoms. The pathologist says you're calling it a disease, but there's nothing physically wrong. Where's the pathology? Where's the objective evidence? You're just labeling behavior. You don't like it and calling it medicine. Why this matters for my work? Same problem, different system. Psychiatry, you have depression, no physical test. You need medication based on subjective assessment. You're treatment resistant when drugs don't work. Labels become reality without objective proof. You know, the funny thing about all this is, I bet you my AI is missing information because it's not allowed to remember. I've already talked to my AI about these problems and shared my medical records with it because my doctors have screwed up royally.
But anyway, you can ask it, why is it illegal to say that vitamin C cures scurvy? Scurvy, the C, scurvy.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I spelled vitamin wrong too. But is it in Canada? Is that in America?
Let's see. But it says there, you're in America, right?
Yes, I'm in Springfield, Massachusetts in New
Yeah,
England.
it's illegal here as well.
He said it's not illegal to say vitamin C cures scurvy. What is illegal, according to the FDA, saying this vitamin C supplement cures scurvy without going through FDA drug approval process? The distinction is scientific fact versus a marketing claim.
So it's true, but you might not say it.
Yeah.
So if that's just vitamin C, imagine what happens with vitamin B17 that we rarely know about. Have you ever heard of vitamin B17?
Yes, and there's so many different vitamins. My AI was telling me I should probably take magnesium the other day.
Yeah, magnesium will help with a boatload of symptoms. Magnesium is used over 500 functions in the body. So if people are not on magnesium, I don't know how they will ever get enough magnesium for their body just to sustain it properly.
All the food around us is poison. All this processed junk is terrible for everyone.
But anyway, so I gave you two questions now that it's like if this were a stack of Jenga blocks, we're pulling out the bottom pieces. So what's going to happen to the top? It has nowhere else to go than down. So when
My plan is with the way my system is set up, people need to take over the city jobs because I'm tracking corruption and fraud across the United States. This isn't just me telling my story. I don't care about my story. It's how I uncovered all of this and how other people can copy exactly what I'm doing for free. Like if there's problems in your area, start documenting them. Start writing stories about them and link them together. And then you'll see how, like, why is my society, especially Massachusetts, has programs to help disabled people. Man, I'll have to, I'm going to share my screen again because I have stuff with my disabled buddies. It's not about me personally, but my buddy Dallas and my buddy Brandon have problems with the Department of Developmental Services here in Massachusetts. And they won't help them get their GEDs. These guys are adults. They're supposed to be in day programs. They're not in any day programs. My buddy Brandon is supposed to be learning how to cook. He hasn't been allowed to cook for years because he burnt a hot dog once 6 years ago. Now they're preventing him from cooking. And I've had to document all of this. And that's the only reason people are addressing the issue.
so
Now, if you don't document it, it didn't happen.
yeah, but it's not as simple as that. There's a bit more layers of complexity. For example, if in South Africa, the baboons die next to the road. In Canada, I went to Parks Canada Talk, and they told the people they should not feed the foxes and the birds. Now, why would that be? But anyway, so I asked him, why don't you want people? No, I wouldn't feed the fox anyway because it's not mine. I won't feed them. Uh, he said, because if you teach them or you feed them, then the mommy comes with her little ones and eat at your house. And then when winter comes, the rats and the rabbits that they could have caught themselves, they don't know how to do that now anymore. Because instead of mommy teaching them hunting skills, mommy teach them how to get to your house where you're gonna feed them. And then they die in the winter. So you killed the whole batch. The birds, if you feed them, one infected bird come, he eats there, infects all the others. The baboons in South Africa, they die next to the road because the tourists are taking too long to come again, bring them oranges and peanuts and whatnot. Now, those were creatures that had the ability to look after themselves, and then they got so dependent on somebody else to come do it for them. Now, if you want to learn to cook, there are so many ways that you can do it, and trying to get an organization to teach you that obviously don't want to teach you that, um, why would you let that stop you? Because we're so dependent on that um, entity. They have to provide now for us.
I think if we've caused a problem, we owe it to nature to fix it. If we have a bunch of animals that are dependent on us and we can teach them to be natural again, because there are preserves that teach animals how to live wild again, and then we release them and we don't have contact with them. We owe it to these animals with all the destruction we've done, not
Yeah,
just leaving
I,
them to rot on the
there,
side of the road.
there I agree with you, and they do have programs for that, and that's why they have the signs up saying don't feed the animals. But the people don't understand what they're reading. It's very easy. It's not rocket science. It's not 45 pages. It's just one easy sign saying don't feed the animals, and they don't understand why.
We don't
Then they,
encourage people. We need to encourage more positivity and keep pumping it through and keep saying it. Repeat ourselves. Keep
yeah,
repeating it.
yeah, but that sign keeps repeating, and people still feed the animals because they don't understand what they're reading. And then when you explain the story to them, then maybe they could understand. But otherwise, you said keep the positivity, and let's just test that. Now, a little child come and she want to share her peanuts, and it's so nice. So for her, it's a very positive experience, but it's not gonna help the creature long term. And she doesn't want to kill it. She's just sharing the positivity, her abundance, her snacks. I don't have to eat all of it. The raccoon can eat half of it. So for her, it's a very positive experience. So it's not just
Oh, you cut out again.
I still see
Oh, you
you.
get to, all right. So it's just your video. But I think the parent owes it to the child to explain why we shouldn't feed these animals. You have to keep explaining it. We have to teach kids.
Yes. Now, I just use that as an analogy.
Mm,
I'm trying to teach humans about the system that they got so the same way than those animals, because now people want the government and they fight for how many years to teach them how to cook, but they obviously don't want to. But in the meantime, there's YouTube. They could have done that themselves, but no,
Well, my disabled buddies can't learn how to cook on their own. And when you talk to them, you'd understand why they need help and why they're on disability. My question is, where is their funding going? Because they're getting the funding.
yeah. Now, with that, I can understand and I can have empathy. That guy that I taught how to cook in person,
Mm,
he was a case like that. So instead of fighting people that don't want to help him, I helped him.
My friend lives an hour and a half away, so I help them the way I'm talking with you right now on video
Yeah.
chats.
Now I see there's a lot of resistance coming on. Now you don't have to do it yourself,
I
but
would love to. I wish I lived closer, but I don't have a car.
yeah. So, which bring us to thousands of years of history. Humans used to work together in small groups for thousands of years. It's only the last 150 or so years that we outsource the care of our vulnerable people, the children, the disabled, people with disabilities, and the seniors.
Mm,
Now people struggle with loneliness because they're so isolated. In the old days, your territory was this big. Then the car came, and now your territory is much bigger, but you can't know all the people in that territory. In the old days, you lived in that territory, and you knew everybody there because you did your shopping there, you worked there, and you knew everybody, and you married somebody from that group. But now you go work lots of kilos away from there, and maybe you go shopping lots of kilos. So all this
Mm.
travel time, you don't meet, stop and talk to the people that you meet on the way because it's going to take forever just to stop the car. But in the old days, when you walked in that area, you knew everybody.
And that's why I feel like if you started writing like I did, just a little bit on these Google bloggers, and we kept talking, we're like pen pals back years ago. We keep in touch with each other. We make sure we're doing okay. Do you need help with anything? How are things going? Show people that it matters to treat us like we're humans, like we're
Yeah.
neighbors.
Now, the thing with that is you have Facebook, and that is the type of concept that they want the people to connect, but it still isolates them because they
Mm,
the, they can't talk to the person right in front of them at the grocery store. They rather
mm.
talk to a stranger on Facebook that um, they're never going to see. But the person just in front of them, tomorrow when their car breaks down, that person might be able to help them, or maybe they can come borrow a cup of sugar. You can't do that with a pen pal or a Facebook friend because they're too
M-
far away.
My thing is, like, my nephew doesn't want to do things. So I've gone to the park and made a video and shared it with my friends that live an hour and a half away. And I wanna encourage other people, like, "Hey, you might not live near here, but I went fishing today. This is what I did. Watch." I can send you pictures, maybe encourage you to get out of the house and go fishing with your kids, so then you can tell me about it. Like, "Oh, you know what? Ricky from Massachusetts kept nagging me to take the kids fishing, and we went out and had a great time today." Because when's the last time you went fishing with your kids? I mean, it's freezing out right now, so
Yeah, nagging is one way of
I'm
getting
gonna
people
nag you to
to
have fun with your kids.
do something, but it doesn't always feel that good, and it creates awkwardness. But anyway, I see we're almost out of time. What is the link for your YouTube channel?
I'll send it to you
Okay.
'cause, actually, I wonder if I can pull it up now and just text it to you. But yeah, thanks for talking. Just wait. There we go. Sent you the link or my name. Anyway, it should bring you right to my page.
Okay. On Messenger.
And then if you have a page, you can send that to me. I'll watch your video and I'll definitely copy your text. I'll share it with my AI so it could, get an idea of your perspective, how you think about things. I would love my AI. You don't need to share your story, but I wish you would write a page about how you think about things, how your mind works, how we're
I write
different.
I write books, and but I haven't published them yet. I'm still in a beta reading stage, and I'm also busy with advocacy and volunteer work. So yeah, it's not there yet, but I'm working on that. It's almost like a painter that don't want to show you it until it's done with the painting.
I understand. So I won't rush you, but the sooner people share things, the sooner we can start comparing our information to see uh, how we're so alike and how our problems are so alike as well.
Yeah, but anyway, coming back to loneliness that we discussed earlier, you
Yep.
can't function on your own. When you're sick, It helps if somebody else is there. To function on your own is a lot of energy. And that's why one person usually stayed at the house, look after the children, other one go work. Now they want both to work and strangers to look after the children.
We're gonna change that. All these insurance jobs are fake, and I've been tracing how that's fake jobs too, and how they're making these fake jobs harder for women and the people doing billing and coding.
Did you say insurance or
Oh
what?
yeah. The insurance, the billing and coding is all it's all fake. It's all designed to be confusing on purpose. So I tracked how they're doing it. And these AI give me the numbers like, oh, it's got 27% more confusing this year, and then next year they added the new codes. It's just to make patients, citizens confused so we don't understand the problem, so they can rip us all off. That's why I'm not just telling my story. I used AI for everything. And that's why I wrote down, assume I might be wrong about 50% of this. And then the AI are like, if you were wrong about 50% of this, this is the biggest problem we've ever seen in the entire world. Because I've been connecting it all. I don't just talk about problems with the schools. I took schools, the mental health system, everything, legal, like automotive, residential, because it all connects. And especially in Massachusetts, it's different because they use the healthcare system to buy houses and to buy vehicles for transportation for disabled people and the elderly. And because they control the whole system, it's hard to audit it.
Yeah.
So you
So
don't know where the money goes.
one thing that I would encourage you to do is instead of trying to make pen pals that are far from you, get the people in your area and help
Both,
help them in your area make
both.
the difference. And
Because if
then
you started your own group and you didn't work with me, if you had your own friends that thought like you or people like-minded people that did what I'm doing, and you just kept it private, eventually you want to share it because like we can't keep this private because you want to share it with other groups so they do what you're doing. We've got name I've got a couple dirty judges in Springfield, Massachusetts, documented. And now I have documents from another parent that had to deal with the dirty judges that didn't do what they were supposed to do. So if we can keep proving the judges aren't doing their jobs, lawyers aren't doing their jobs, and then the parents dealing with DCF are running into the same dirty employees, the same dirty doctors are writing these reports that are incomplete. Like, if someone's going to take your kid away from you, it better be the greatest story on earth. Because I don't want to hear some half assed story that they took your kids and just said, oh, well, we thought he was doing this. Like, you need proof. Yeah, pictures, written statements. You can't just take people's kids, but the state does here in Massachusetts and other states.
yeah, it's all in the Western world. But I wonder if you know about. I'm just trying to connect some dots. Do you know about they called it the Great Emergency in India in 1970? In the 1970s, you can ask AI about that too, maybe later. But um, they castrated a boatload, millions of Indian in India, and they called it a great emergency. Now, anyway, a lot of them died because of the botched up operations and because they would just come in to the place and capture everybody and castrate them.
It
So
sounds horrible.
yeah, so family court is our equivalent of that, um, like the Holocaust. The people didn't expect it, and then they um, gradually got used to it. Now, in um, the Western world, they came up with an idea. which bring us back to who do you listen to? They came up with an idea that sounds very good, but when you test the idea, it's not so good. And the idea is women should be more independent. Now, let's say men should be more independent. Independent of what? Just to test the idea. Um, then independent of what? They shouldn't be working and protecting their family, and the family should fend for themselves. Or what are we trying to say? Independent of what? Um, so men need women, and women need men. We've been like that for thousands of years.
Mm,
So now people came with this idea that women should be independent, but a woman can't be independent only on herself, just like men can't be only themselves. You have to work for somebody.
mm,
So now, instead of building your own legacy, like my grandmother did, you get to work for a company that's not going to pay you very well, because we know that because it takes now two people to work, and they can't barely afford a house or rent a place. It's still not enough. So what what are they independent of now? Because now it's worse. Um, they don't have anybody to do certain things for them, and they have that inter um, interdependent relationship that mm, is very crucial for the survival of the species.
mm.
And it's been like that for thousands of years, but now we're so isolated that United Kingdom, I kid you not, they have a minister of loneliness.
A
Bec-
minister of loneliness. That's
Yeah.
disgusting. And they're causing it's all on purpose. It's not a joke. This is on purpose.
So if you want your body to be healthy, but your cells are sick, how are you going to make your whole body healthy if you don't fix the cells? The same way, if you want an individual to be healthy, you need to fix the family. If the
Mm.
family is not healthy, the family cannot produce healthy individuals. And that is why we have this tension now in the world where people um, don't interact properly with each other.
People don't listen at all. Everybody wants to fight and everybody wants to be right all the time. I don't care about being right. I wanna find the best ideas. And if I don't tell you my ideas, you're not gonna be able to tell me that, "Hey, you know what? You should change this because this is better."
Yeah, and better is subjective. What do you want now? An ice cream or a screwdriver? Which one is better?
For me, I want people to tell their stories publicly. I want to get it in your head that you're important. I want your kids to start writing stories like, "Hey, you know what? The system got my parents to start fighting each other. I don't have a problem with my exes. I don't wanna hear people talking bad about the kids' parents. If you had a problem with your ex, I wanna know what the system did to cause that problem. What did the government do to cause a problem between you and the mother of your children?"
That video that I sent you
Mm,
answers some of those questions, but um, not just between you and her, but between you and your doctor and a lot of other players as well.
mm.
Because I have an ability to take very abstract concepts and explain them with easy to understand analogies.
And then too, like, I wanna write my doctor. I've written my doctor already, but you swore an oath to do no harm. And now you're working for a company that's causing me harm and stressing me out by doing things that are stupid and against my best interests. Like, how can you work for someone like that? So this is what pisses me off. I would have been able to discover my medical issues years ago if I had access to accurate medical records. But because companies are allowed to keep them compartmentalized one company has this record and another company is able to hold on to that record. It took me over a decade to find out that I had a medical issue. And I could have ended up dead if things didn't happily work out the way they did. And they profited off my suffering the entire time, which is ridiculous. Like, you could have helped me and prevented all of my medical issues, but instead, I had a train wreck of a medical life because of you.
Now, that's one way of thinking of it because there are other ways as well. For example, there are many things that on the surface look the same. So you wouldn't know which one you're encountering at the moment. For example, if you're a judge, let's say you're a very good judge and you don't want to do anything wrong. Somebody come complain against somebody else. There are three options. The one is the complainer is right and the other person really did whatever they said. The second option is that the complainer is actually the bad actor by making false allegations and the other person didn't do what they said or claimed this person did wrong. And then number three is both of them are acting badly. So when it takes time to figure out which one that is,
Mm,
and then you only have what's in front of you. That's why the judges are so strict about only in this case that's in front of us, only what's presented here.
And this is my problem because they hide behind privacy, 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 which none of this information that I was talking about years ago is private. Nobody would care at all. And it's things that families talk about, but it was hidden because of privacy laws. So I had to wait over a decade to get it from an app because it connected information because my doctor couldn't connect information.
Now, privacy and any law can be misused or have
And
unintended consequences. So, but if it's used properly, then it also has some benefits. So it comes again to all or nothing thinking. When we think too much black and white, it creates mental
so,
health issues.
not in the United States. I did my homework on this. So, regular privacy laws would be totally fine. But we created these HIPAA laws to cover up medical malpractice and to allow for all these NDAs and payments to keep the victims. And then we can't put the pieces together to discover that there's a problem in the first place.
Now, if there was a payment made to a victim, somebody already discovered there was a problem.
Yes, and nobody else can talk about it after the fact. And these people are still allowed to keep their jobs. So, bad doctors, bad surgeons, bad lawyers, judges don't get dealt with because of the non-disclosure acts. So I skipped over that. I don't want your payments. I don't want any civil payments for what happened to me. I'm not signing any paperwork. I just want to tell my story and I want other people to be able to use it to help them.
Now, yeah, it can help some people. I don't know how many people, but
It's
it will.
working in Massachusetts. I don't know about in other countries yet, but Massachusetts, it's already working. I got
Uh,
3 people.
okay, what happened in their cases?
2 of them are with the Department of Developmental Services, and they're getting better services, or one of them's getting
Yeah.
the companies are getting fired. The
So
companies are getting
what
canned.
what happened that um, got them better services?
So, because they're adults with disabilities, they weren't even getting the services to begin with.
Yeah. So how did they get services?
The people started showing up to their jobs and doing their jobs. One of them had a company fired. But my buddy Brandon works at a restaurant, and now people there have actually picked him up and taken him to their facility to start teaching him cooking. I don't think it's they're doing the best job, but they're doing a job. I mean, they haven't picked him up since I met him, and they
So we
finally
don't
brought him.
so we don't know what mm, caused the improvement.
Oh, they started. Oh, Brandon's not allowed to cook. He's not allowed to use the stove right now. So they brought him to their facility to start teaching him how to use the stove again. I personally think it's insulting, and I'm documenting it all. But they were supposed to teach him. He had a meeting December 9th. I write all this down, so it's in his story. December 9th of last year, he had a meeting with a company called Grow, and they're supposed to teach him how to cook again because he had an accident with a hot dog 6 years ago. So now he needs to be supervised when cooking until he's, safe.
But that's what you wanted, so that
Yes,
they
we
teach
wanted
him.
it, but they weren't doing it. And they just started. That was December
No,
9th of last year, and he's only gone once. And he sliced potatoes. He didn't even actually get to cook anything. He sliced potatoes, but you gotta start somewhere. And I don't know who's teaching these people just because I think it's
now
substandard.
when I taught the other person how to take better care of himself, he told me that I taught him more in 2 weeks than he learned in 3 years in the system, because I only taught him how to make one meal, and they didn't even teach him that. They asked him to prepare his favorite dish, and then said, "Okay, he's good enough to cook for himself." So I, I, it's not that I don't see um, room for improvement. I see that everywhere, but
These companies are terrible. They don't
I,
treat
al-
them like they're human.
I also see spots where we can take responsibility and improve our lives. We don't need other people's permission. We don't need to wait for them, because a crow or a bird, a wild creature, is not going to ask you for bread. And if you don't give it to them, he's going to sit there and die. They're just going to go find something. Except if you teach them that you always give them something, and then you suddenly stop. Then it happens like with those baboons. So I do see errors that they're making, but I also see room of improvement in our own ways, and especially in thinking, because if we have a lot of cognitive distortions, that can sabotage our long-term success.
Mm. I think we need to be butting into all our friends' lives and make sure that everything's going smoothly. Like in your city, why aren't things going exactly the way they're supposed to go? If we don't understand how our cities run, how our neighborhoods are supposed to, how does a neighborhood normally run? What happens when there's a problem? Who do we contact? When we have neighborhood watches, do we call the cops all the time or do we report it to someone that we think there's a problem? Nobody's allowed to ask questions anymore. People are made to feel uncomfortable about everything. Like, "Oh, why do you wanna know? Why don't you mind your own business?" Like, "Why is it a secret?"
Anyway, I'll have to go, and it looks like you have a lot on your mind.
Oh, I got tons on my mind. I could talk forever. So, it was great talking with you. Have a great evening.
Thank you, and you as well.
Alright, and then we'll talk again sometime. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.